Namaste, and welcome to this yoga practice for runners. This is the re-record of the live session that we did together on Saturday, because unfortunately the recording didn't work. But hey, those are the knocks, and we've got to move with them. So welcome to this yoga practice. Please remember as you practice today that we should always feel ease in the body where possible. Any discomfort that you carry with you should not be made worse by your practice. Listen to your body. If something doesn't feel right for you, don't do it. And if you need more advice, and certainly if you feel any pain, rest out and seek the advice of a yoga teacher. Today, everything that we're doing is quite accessible for the most part, but just go gently with yourself. Okay. So you might need a couple of yoga blocks if you've got them. Pilates blocks also work well. They need to be a little firm so that if we're doing a lunge or something similar, you've got a way to bring the floor up to you, which might make this posture a little bit more comfortable for some people. And it's good for forward bending. We may use them for a relaxation pose at the end of the class. If you don't have something specific in your house like this, a couple of sturdy books is really a great idea to have just by the side of your mat. And tin cans are a good way to bring the floor up to you. They're not so good underneath the body, as we discovered on Saturday. Okay, so without further ado, let us begin this practice. And in yoga, we begin by developing a little bit of awareness. So we're coming to stand on your mat or in your yoga space with your feet a comfortable distance apart, and simply allow your body to find its way into a lengthened upright position. Try not to grip or hold in any particular area. And if you can, if you're comfortable, turning your palms forwards. Check the position of your neck, that your head is not dropped in front of your body, but the weight of the head is centered over the central line of the body, so the head feels light. Closing your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that, or gazing gently downward. Notice how your body is feeling right now. Notice the places that talk to you the most, the areas perhaps of a little tension or stiffness or discomfort. Remembering to be aware of them as you practice, maybe giving them a little extra TLC. Notice also the quiet areas where the body is at ease and feels comfortable. And then placing both of your hands on your abdomen, noticing your natural spontaneous breath, the breath that you're breathing right now. Notice how your breath moves in your body. Notice which part of your body moves first as you inhale. And where you feel the breath moving the body last as you exhale. Then gently deepening your breath. And as you exhale, engage the muscles of the abdomen softly to ease a little bit more air out of the lungs. Breathing deeply into the sides of the body, the back, the chest. Breathing more fully out with that gentle engagement across the abdomen. Breathing into the rib cage, the collarbones, the shoulder blades. Breathing out, gently engaging in the belly. A couple more of these deep breaths. And if you can, soften the features of the face, the forehead, the area around the eyes, the tongue, the jaw. And when you're ready, just blinking your eyes open if they've been closed, allowing your arms to rest down by your side. We're going to start by walking around our yoga space in different ways, but we're going to start on our tiptoes. So up onto your tiptoes as high as you can go. Feel a little firmness in the center of your body. You don't need to look down at your feet, but most people want to. And then walking around your yoga space. See if you can make your walk as natural as possible, keeping the knees a little soft and bouncy, allowing a swing, a natural swing in the arms with soft elbows and fingers. And then wherever you are, just floating your heels down to the floor and feeling the contact, like the extra sensation underneath the balls of the feet and the balls of the toes. Then coming up onto your heels, let's do the same thing. Walking around your space, you don't need to walk in a circle, just around the space you have on your heels, but keeping a little softness in your knees so that you haven't rigidly locked your legs straight. And see if you can allow that softness to come also into the arms, the shoulders, and the chest. And then wherever you are, floating the feet to the floor, feeling that extra sensation from the contact under the heels. See if you can still feel it in the balls of the feet as well, the toes. Coming onto the outside edges of your feet, we're going to walk around the mat again. On the outside edges of the feet, to walk around your space. Here, notice what happens with your arms and your fingers. So sometimes people turn their little fingers inwards, make their fingers really quite straight and lengthen into the arms. See if you can shake out that connection and let the arms be nice and soft and flowing. And then float your feet to the floor again. Notice the extra sensation down the edges of the feet, outside edges. We're going to finally come onto the inside edges of the feet. You might have guessed that. And we're going to walk around the mat, this time noticing if you have penguined your arms. So that happens where we stick the thumbs around behind us and really, really lengthen through the arms. Try to keep the arms nice and soft, the chin lifted, the chest open, a little softness in the knees as well, until you come back to standing on your feet. And here, if you can, closing your eyes. It's not comfortable for everyone to do that, but if you're able to, then you get much more awareness of the internal sensations. And if it's not comfortable, just gaze down at one point on the floor. Take a few moments to feel your awareness in your feet. And we're going to when you're running, you use your feet all of the time. And actually runners are most often more aware of their feet than other yoga practitioners. But we sometimes don't notice the sensations across the feet as we move our weight and how the rest of our body responds. So the mobility of the foot and the resilience in mobility of the ankle has a knock-on effect all the way up the legs, into the pelvis, into the spine. So let's examine that a little bit. Take your feet a little bit wider apart, keep your knees nice and soft, and gently twist from one side to the other, allowing the arms to float away from the body and then wrap the body. If you can, draw your abdominal muscles inwards and upwards gently, and gently engage your pelvic floor, perhaps in the buttocks a little, and feel the difference in how the soles of the feet contact the floor, how the weight goes down through them as you make your movement. Keep the shoulders really relaxed, the arms heavy and soft, softness even into the fingers. And then when you're ready, you can free the toes. So you can pivot on your toes as you twist from one side to the other. Or at least pivot on the toe you're moving away from. And notice now the movement comes more into the ankle, the leg, the hips, even perhaps a little bit more movement across the pelvis into the low back. And we can add another element only if you want to by softening the knees in the center. So we bounce and twist, bounce and twist, bounce and twist. Feel your weight into your heels so that you don't lean forward as you bounce, but it's a bit like a plie actually, as it happens. Touching the opposite shoulder in front of you, opposite hip behind you, giving the arms somewhere to go. And here we're not just releasing the postural tension from the body, but preparing the larger muscles of the lower body for movement, energizing them, waking them up, warming them. So when you're ready, you can let the bounce go, keep your pivot, and then bring your feet to stillness and allow the body to gently release a little bit of momentum at a time until you come back to standing steady. And when you do, take a moment to notice the difference between movement and stillness. The sensations moving out from the center of the body, the vibration into your extremities. And then you can gently begin to roll your shoulders. So keeping the arms nice and soft, just rolling the shoulders. I always start backwards, but you may start forwards, it's okay. And we'll go in the opposite direction as well, because in yoga we love a bit of balance. And then we can take the fingertips towards the shoulders. They don't have to touch, but they can come to the chest in front of it. So that's easier. And making circles with the elbows now. And make the circles a little bit bigger, drawing the elbows towards each other in front of you, the shoulder blades towards each other behind you. And in the opposite direction as well, start with a slightly smaller circle and then build up to that fuller range of motion. Elbows drawing towards each other in front of the body, elbows behind the body as you open the chest. And then let the arms rest down by the sides. So here we're going to allow our neck to make some movements. So I'm going to suggest some movements, but if you know your head and shoulders and neck and you want to move in a different way to loosen or open, then feel free to use your own movements. So I'm going to draw my chin towards my chest. You can follow suit if you like to. And I'm not forcing the chin down, I'm just allowing gravity to draw the head forward. And from here, rolling the right ear to the right shoulder, and chin back to the chest, and left ear to left shoulder. And for me, I really like this. I can feel the connections between the movement of the head into the neck and the shoulders, the chest, the upper back. And if you want to, you can lift the chin between the two shoulders, not taking the head backwards, but the chin upwards to make a little circuit. You might even feel that connection into the base of the tongue. And we go in both directions. You don't have to do the circles. You can do any movements, remember. And when you're ready, gently bringing your head back to center. Aces. So we're going to bring our hands together in front of the body, interlace the fingers and stretch the back of the hands away. And as we do that, scooping the belly in, lengthening through the back of the body in that space between the shoulder blades. Taking a deep breath in, breathing into that space between the shoulder blades, and then releasing that breath, softening the shoulders down. From here, we're going to press the palms away, lift the arms up over the head, lifting through the sides of the body, feeling the belly muscles lift, And as you exhale, just gently leaning over to the right side, inhaling back to the center and exhaling to the left. We're going to do that a couple more times. Inhaling up, exhaling over, press down with the left foot. Inhaling up, exhaling to the left, press down with the right foot. Inhale to center, bring your feet absolutely together if you can. Exhaling to the right, lean your hips away to the left. Inhaling back to center, exhaling to the left, leaning your hips away to the right. Inhaling to center, separating the hands, letting the arms float down to the sides. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the body. If you can't do that, just hold one wrist with the opposite hand. Roll the shoulder blades towards each other and gently draw the elbows in towards each other as well. Here, you can gently lengthen the arms a little and then release the hands back towards the back, but draw the elbows towards each other. So just feeling the difference between having the arms lengthened. They don't have to be straight. We don't want the wrists to be strained here, so drawing the palms towards each other at the same time, and then releasing the hands back to the body and drawing the elbows a bit firmly towards each other, a bit more firmly rather towards each other. From here, you're going to slide the back of the left hand over to the right hip and let your right elbow stick out like a chicken wing. You can flap it around if you want to. And then here, we're gently going to stand tall and turn your head from side to side. Just feel how that feels. In the center, tuck your chicken wing in. So tucking in your right elbow and then taking your chin towards your chest and rolling the right ear towards the right shoulder and the chin back towards the chest. A couple more times. Right ear to right shoulder, chin to chest. Last time. Very good. And then bringing your head back to center, relaxing your arms behind you again. And if you want to, you can just let your hands really, really relax. And if you prefer, you can roll the shoulder blades in, the elbows towards each other, and do another lengthening and releasing. Slide the back of the right hand over to the left hip. Let your left chicken wing or elbow stick out to the side, and standing tall, observe as you turn your head from one side to the other. Does it feel differently on this side? It doesn't matter if it doesn't. Then tucking your left elbow in to feel that openness on the right side of the chest, chin towards the chest, rolling the left ear towards the left shoulder, and chin to chest. Repeating 2 more times. Left ear to left shoulder, chin to chest. Last time. Left ear to left shoulder, chin to chest. Bringing the head back to center, taking the hands back behind you, separating the hands and drawing the the arms forward in front of the body. Very good. So before we come down onto the mat, which we are going to do, taking the hands onto the hips and the feet nice and wide, and just making some stirring circles with your hips. Feeling the engagement of the abdomen here. Maybe a little engaging across the buttocks as well. Going the opposite direction as well. And people do this a combination of ways, but you can either put your whole body into it, where you roll everything around, or you can keep your upper body and your feet more still and roll around your center. It doesn't matter which, it's nice to do a bit of both. Coming back to center, before we come down, one last thing, I'm turning to the side so you can see, feet nice and wide, a little softness in the knees, breathing in as you open the elbows, opening the chest, and then breathe out and feel almost like someone's pulled you just underneath the rib cage, backwards, and you're going to drape your hands and your head forwards, just rounding in the upper back, a little touch of firmness across the buttock muscles. Breathing in as you open the chest and breathing out as you drape forward. It's not a forward bend, it's a drape. Breathing in, firm in the belly, just a gentle firmness, and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And we're going to finish here by breathing in to stand tall, reaching the arms out, and just let the hands float down to the side. Very good. Okay, so coming down to the mat in any way that suits you, but if you're an experienced yogi, you might prefer to come down through a squat. And to do that, we're going to be lengthways on our mat or yoga space. So to come down through the squat, take your feet out, turn them out to the sides, and then bring your palms together and just sinking your buttocks down between your feet or as low as feels comfortable for you. If you want to, you can gently press the elbows into the inner thighs and rock a little from side to side. You don't have to be that low down. You can use your blocks. You can be up on your tiptoes. You can have your chest lifted to come down into the squat of your choice. I'm going to place my blocks towards the end of my mat. Actually, I'm going to place them slightly further away. Lovely job. And then from this squat, taking your hands behind you and just sitting your buttocks down onto the mat, we're going to hug the knees into the chest and roll down. And of course, you can choose just to come down to the mat under your own steam in a different way if you prefer. Let's float the feet to the floor one at a time, release the arms out to the side, and take a moment here to allow the spine to organize itself in this new position, to allow the body to arrive in this new position and absorb the effects of all of our movements to this point. Deep breath in. Soften the features of the face, relax the tongue, deep breath out. And if you want to, you can always exhale through your mouth to release anything that's come up. Let it go that way. Okay. So we're going to start by bending the knees into the chest one at a time, using our hands underneath or on top of the knees and just making circles with the knees. The feet are apart, the knees are apart. We can go in the opposite direction as well. And if you feel able to, you can do this without the support from your hands, no problem at all. And then when you're ready, you can make the knees go in different directions. So alternate circles with the knees. And that helps, because we've all got a left-right imbalance, that helps our individual or alternate sides, or opposite sides, to move more individually. So moving in both directions, a few times in each way. And then we're going to gently bring the feet back to center and float the feet down one at a time. The feet are wide, wider than our bodies. And if you want to, you can turn your toes slightly out. It might be worth investigating that if you get some pinching across your knees. So we're going to gently sway the knees from one side to the other. Just a little sway. We're not trying to get anywhere in particular. In yoga, the position or the way a posture looks isn't the important thing. The important thing is the way it feels. So as you develop, you can maybe sway the knees a little further. Perhaps you found space to move into this twist a little bit more. Your knees a little closer to the floor, and it doesn't matter if that doesn't happen. Just going as far as feels comfortable and right for your body. One more time to each side. And then when you come back to the center, we're going to bring the elbows close to the body and down onto the floor with the palms facing each other. So we're bending the arms at the elbows, palms facing across the body. Gently press the back of your head down and then firmly press the shoulders, arms and heels down and peel your hips up off the floor and then release the hips down. Again, it's not about the height or the shape. Peeling the hips up, it's about how it feels. And releasing down. Try to take the effort into the back of the body, pressing down and then lifting with the buttocks. And releasing. This time, we're going to come up and hold for some hula hooping. So we're peeling the hips up and then hula hooping, making a hula hooping motion with our hips, going in one direction and then the other. This is great for strengthening the back of the body, but also just sort of releasing tension from across the pelvis, coming back to center and releasing down. Very nice. So from here, we're going to lift the legs straight-ish up to the air, but they can be bent if they need to be. Release the arms up as well and make circles with the wrists and the ankles. So it doesn't matter if they're going in the same direction or opposite directions. We're going to go in both directions, so reversing when you need to. And then keeping the arms and legs up, we're going to wave the soles of the feet and the palms of the hands at the ceiling. So we get a little rolling of the femur bones, the thigh bones, and the hip sockets. And then we're going to spread the toes and the fingers wide and then scrunch them up. Spread the toes and the fingers wide and scrunch them up. Spread toes and fingers wide and scrunch them up. And bend the knees back into the chest. So from here, we're going to roll backwards and forwards through the length of our spines, trying to roll from the shoulder blades up to the sit bones. So hold on to your knees if it's comfortable to do that. And build up a little bit of momentum first. So we're massaging the back of the body as we roll backwards and forwards. And if you can, balancing on your sit bones when you come up onto them before rolling back down. So catching yourself in a balance and then surrendering back down to the floor. Woo! And it doesn't matter if you overbalance. Just doing a couple more of these. And then this time, as you roll up, balancing and holding, lengthening through the back of the body, lifting your chest, and if you feel able to, taking your hands away from your legs. If you want to do a full boat pose, you can do, but this is not necessary. Deep breath in and breathing out, catching your knees in and sitting cross-legged if you feel comfortable doing that. If not, just sit with your feet a little further apart, your knees bent, and let them fall out to the sides. Take a moment as you come into sitting to feel your way into this new posture. Allow your spine to organize itself. Allow your central nervous system, your fascial system, your muscular system to absorb the information you've given it. Very good. So I'm going to do this first bit facing you with my right leg in front of my left. You can do it facing the long end of your mat if you like. I'm going to swivel around in a moment. So we're going to take the hands onto the knees and begin by circling our upper bodies around the central line of the body. Just circling around, we're massaging the outsides of the legs, the buttocks onto the floor as well. And if you want to, you can lift your chin and then fold your head. If you want to come a little bit more into the movement, you don't have to. Let's go the opposite way as well. Very good. And one more in this direction. Coming upright. And then here, we're going to do a little side bending. So take your left hand down to your left side. Allow your body to fall towards that left, lifting the right buttock off the floor, reaching the right arm over to the left side. And then press off that hand, come back to center, reach the right hand to the right side, left buttock off the floor, left arm over. Just going from side to side. So we're using a little bit of momentum. Very good. And then the next time you come down on your left side, we're going to free the right leg and sweep the right leg behind us and come into pigeon pose. So if your right leg doesn't want to go all the way round behind you and straight, then you don't have to do pigeon pose. You can do something called deer pose, where you keep your right knee bent out to the right side, your left leg stays in front. You can do all of the same things in deer pose as you do in a full pigeon, but so that is an option for you if you want it. Okay, so here in our pigeon pose, we're going to tuck the back toe under, and for those of you who are doing pigeon, we're going to keep this a very active pigeon. So we want the hands back towards us. You can use your blocks for support if you'd want to in any orientation, and we want to keep the back knee pliable, the back toes tucked under, and just gently bounce from one side to the other if possible. Okay, so finding a little sway here, side to side or up and down. For those who are doing deer pose, I would stick with just doing deer without wiggling around too much, but you might find folding forward and swaying your upper body from side to side is quite nice. So if you want to give yourself a little bit of extra opening across the right quadriceps, you can bend the right foot in and catch hold of it with your right or left hand, it doesn't matter. And you can try bringing the heels close to the buttock if you feel that you need that extra stretch. You don't need to hold onto the foot at all. It might be just enough to bring the foot in. If you want to, you can also flex your heel and gently wave your foot from side to side like you were wagging a tail. Lovely job. And releasing down. Obviously in deer pose we can't do that. And then if you want to, you can explore folding forward. Now I like to fall onto my left hip to fold forward because it suits my knees better. You can do from the center if it suits you. So again, here you don't have to hold this as a static pose. You can keep the chest open and move a little from side to side. And what we do there with these movements is we keep the lengthening quite dynamic. We can move it across the muscular structures. Most muscles are not linear. So if we move a little, we get to access the different connections, the different spaces that they move through. We can access the fascia a little bit for fascial release, and we negotiate for space. So we're trying to find our way into a comfortable position. Excuse me, that's my daughter sneezing. And then when you're ready, you can come up into a more upright position and then swing your right leg back around. And we're going to change our legs to be the opposite way around, so the left leg in front. Okay. And it doesn't matter if you're not doing cross legs, you don't need to worry about which leg is in front. And we'll start again in the center, find our upright position, absorb the information we've just given our bodies, and then make some circles with our upper body. So using the hands on the knees to support, a little rotation. You can use your, allow your neck to be free in the movement and go in both directions. So by lifting the chin, you open the chest. As you go backwards, by drawing the chin gently downwards, you lengthen the space between the shoulder blades. One more in this direction, coming back to center. And then we'll do our side falling. So taking your right hand to the right side, free the left buttock from the floor, reach the left arm over, and then coming back up to center and falling to the opposite side. Or lengthening, should we say, lengthening to the opposite side. Reaching over, feeling that side stretch, the freedom of the pelvis to move as you move. So you're not holding, you're not rigid, you're not static. Lovely stuff. The next time you fold to the right, you free your left leg and swing it either out to the side into pigeon pose or all the way behind you into out to the side into deer pose, or all the way behind you into pigeon pose. So again here, with the toes tucked under, the back knee on the floor, we're gently negotiating from side to side. And perhaps a little bit up and down as well. You can use your blocks for support to give you as much uprightness as you feel that you need, because we never want to feel this in our knees. And so there are things that you can do with your pigeon. So if you feel it in your knees, try tucking your right heel right underneath your right leg. So underneath the top of the hamstring or the buttock. And then if it feels okay there to do your pigeon, then you can explore how far out to the side you can get your right foot towards your left side before it doesn't feel good anymore. So I'm about a third of the way. And some people with better rotation in their hips might be a bit further along. If you want to give your quadricep a little bit more of a stretch, you can bend your left foot in towards you and bring the heel towards the buttock to begin with. If that feels good, you can hold for a few deep breaths. And if you like to, you can flex your heel, holding the ankle, and just sway your left foot from side to side. So you get, even in a stirring sensation, so you get that moving opening, that sense of space and length that's dynamic, not static. Releasing this foot down. If you'd like to fold forward over your front legs, I like to drop my hip to the floor to do that. You can move yourself forward with your hands nice and wide, keeping a little sway or a bounce in the body. So again, nothing is static, nothing is held or gripped or rigid. There we are. And then when you're ready, you can swing your left leg back in front of your right and sitting at the head of your mat. And just allowing your body to organize itself again into this upright seated position. Releasing your breath through your mouth if you have something to let go of. Okay, so from here, we've got the left leg in front of the right. We're going to take the right hand down behind us and twist so that we come into a squatting position facing backwards along our mat. And so here we are in a little dynamic squat if you want to, up on your tiptoes, down on your heels if you want to, moving from side to side. And I'm just going to move my blocks to the opposite end of my mat, where they may be more helpful. And first we're going to reach our hands as far forward as feels comfortable, to the point where we feel like we're almost going to fall towards the floor. And keeping our chest in that sort of falling position, unpeel our legs. So extend through the legs, extending the hips up towards the ceiling and the heels towards the floor, pivoting on the toes. And we don't need to keep our legs long here. We can keep moving through the knees, extending one heel and then the other to the floor, and finding that movement perhaps even comes into the shoulders, pressing one hand towards the floor more and then the other. So we get a little twist, a little lengthen. We can even move the head from side to side. A really soft but dynamic dog. We don't want to be rigid anywhere. Pressing firmly through the base of the fingers and the heels of the hands, as well as the toes and the heels when they come into play. And then when you're ready, you can bring your feet closer together and then drop your knees to the floor. Very good. So we're going to do something called a waving vinyasa here. I noticed that the sunshine's just gotten really, really bright. So forgive me to leave you on your hands and knees for a moment while I shut the curtain. Otherwise, we won't be able to see very well. Perfect. And hopefully that's improved the shadow for you. Fantastic stuff. So we've got our hands in front of us in a hands and knees position. And here we're going to do a little cat pose. So I've got my hands a bit too far forward now, so I'm going to bring them a bit closer towards me. You find a position that works for you, toes tucked under. Breathing in as you look forward, opening your chest, lifting your tailbone at the same time, but also engaging your belly muscles. And as you breathe out, rounding through the spine, press the mat away from you, lift the back upwards, tuck the chin inwards, scoop the belly in, tuck under the tailbone. Inhaling forwards, opening the chest, belly muscles still gently engaged. Exhaling, engaging the buttocks as you lift through the center of the back. Inhaling and exhaling. One more forward, inhaling, but as you exhale, drop your hips down to your heels so you loosen off the tension across the wrists. And then from here, press off your toes, round through your upper back, press your weight forward and open your chest as your shoulders come over your hands. And then press back up through hands and knees and hips down to heels. So it's a moving cat. Coming forward, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Essentially, it doesn't matter what you do here as long as it feels good. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to very gently come back to hands and knees and lower ourselves down onto our tummies, making a pillow out of our hands, toes turned towards each other, heels falling apart, and take a moment to rock your hips from side to side. Keeping your forehead, your arms, your shoulders all relaxed towards the floor, bring the thighs towards each other. Press your right foot down as you lift your left leg up and then gently lower. We don't need to lift high. Press the left foot down as you lift the right leg up and gently lower. Press down with the right foot, lift the left leg up and gently lower. Press down with the left, lift the right leg up and gently lower. This time, press down with the right, lift the left leg up, bend the knee softly just to lift the left heel a little higher and gently lower. Press the left foot down, lift the right leg up, bend the knee just a little to lift the heel a little higher and gently lower. Two more times to each side. Lifting the left heel as you soften the knee and lower. Press down with the left foot, lift the right leg, soften the knee and lower. One more time to each side. Lift, bend, lower, lift, bend, lower. Let the toes fall together, the toes fall towards each other, heels fall apart, and gently rock the hips from side to side. And then bring the body to stillness and just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Take your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck the toes, come back up to hands and knees. We're going to take the feet wide, or the knees wide, sorry, and the hands wide, and make big circles. So swaying our hips around in a circle as if we were drawing a circle on the floor with our navels. We're going to go in both directions. It's a great way to release any tension from the previous practice. Very good. And then bringing the knees towards each other and the hands back maybe a little bit closer to being underneath the body. Now the position of the wrists is sometimes something that causes people a distress, and lots of yoga teachers are very, oh, let's do this. Tuck your toes under, settle your hips back onto your heels. You can come up and down if you need to. But yoga teachers can be very specific in their instructions, and I have moved away from that because I find that everybody is different. So specific instructions aren't necessarily very helpful. So if you're told to put your hands directly underneath your shoulders, that's great. If when you do this, you have a right angle between your forearm and the back of your hand. But if you don't, you might find it a bit more comfortable to have your hands a little bit in front of your shoulders. Okay, so here we are, positioning your hands where it suits you. We're going to slide the right foot back, and we're going to draw a circle on the floor with the right toes. So drawing the right toes towards the right hand on the right side of the body, and then drawing a circle on the floor with the right leg as long and straight as you can, behind the body to the left side, looking to the left. So drawing a circle to the right, you can look to the right, keep the chest open by pressing the hands into the floor and away from each other, and the right foot to the left side. One more time like this. And for anyone who wants to give it a go, you can also do this with the leg lifted, making big circles, drawing the right foot towards the right hand, lifting as high as you can, keeping the chest open, right foot to the left side. So big sweeping circles, but only if you've got room to do that and it feels good, perhaps for your more regular yogis. Coming to rest the right foot by the right hand, and we're just going to pad our hands back towards our knees and come to standing upright or uprightish. And here we're going to do a little gate pose. Now, we didn't do this on Saturday, I don't think, so I'm going to turn slightly sideways so you can see. I've got my right foot out to my right side. I've got my left knee underneath my left hip, arms out to the side. As you breathe in, lengthen the left arm up and the right hand down, coming into a gentle side stretch, and breathing out back to center. Keep firm in your center, breathing in, into your stretch, and breathing out as you return. Last one, breathing in, breathing out as you return. Now we can go to the other side. We can breathe in as we reach the left hand down and the right hand over. Breathing out back to center. Breathing in. Breathing out back to center. One last one. Very good. Smashing. So we're going to make the right foot, the right knee bouncy. I'm going to turn back this way. So I'm bending and lengthening the right knee, and then when I've built up a little bit of bounce, I can step the right foot in front of me into this lunge position. So from here, I'm going to reach my hands down either side of my foot, and I can inch my foot forwards a little bit if that feels comfortable. And I'm just going to begin by swinging the hips gently backwards and forwards. A little something underneath your back knee might help if you have sensitive knees. And then I'm going to make circles. So I'm going to make the circle happen from the right foot. I'm going to roll all the way around the right foot like we did with our walking at the beginning of class. And as I do that, my hips have to move around. My thigh bones move around in my hip sockets. And it's just really nice. I really enjoy it. But it's really nice to release tension across the pelvis. And then coming back to the center, and we're going to do a little bit more rocking. So we're going to come back onto the heel, trying to lengthen the right leg a little, and just rock the hips from side to side. Again, trying to get the sense of length and exploration into different areas than just a linear movement. And then coming back onto the sole of the right foot, we can lift the right knee a little bit off the mat and do the same sort of thing here. Do just a little gentle twist through the hips. Drop the left knee down. No, right knee, left knee down. And then we're going to keep the right toes down, lengthen the hips back towards the heels a little bit, rock from side to side. Super. And then we're going to go between front and back. So we're going to lift the back knee off the mat a little bit. We're going to lengthen through the front leg, keeping the back knee off the mat, and lengthen through the back leg, keeping the front foot flat. So if you want to do this with the knee on the floor, you can. The back knee on the floor. If you want to do this with your toes down, I advise doing it both ways, just a few times. And then this time, straightening both legs. So you've got your legs straighter. They don't have to be all the way straight. Remember, you've got blocks here to give you a little bit of lift if you need it. And then bending the knees, straightening through both legs if you can, and bending the knees. And it's aiming towards straight without strain, listening to your body. Last one. Bending the knees. And we're going to finish in a more upright lunge position. So we don't want the front foot, the right foot, too far ahead of the left knee. We're going to press them into the feet, press down, maybe press them slightly away or draw them together, roll the body upwards. So we come to sitting, standing, kneeling. Proposal position is what I call this. Excellent. And then here, we're going to rest the right hand down on the right leg, breathe in the left arm up and over to the right side. So a little gentle side bend, come back to center, and then imagine you're wrapping your arm around someone just on the right side of your leg, so you get a sort of fold and twist at the same time. Great length across the shoulder behind you. Come back to center. Breathing in and up and over. Breathing out and back down. Breathing in as you scoop and fold around or hug around. Breathing out back to center. Last one. Breathing in and up and over. Breathing out and down. And then breathing in as you hug. And breathing out back to center. Very good. And so from here, we're going to come back to downward facing dog. So we're going to press the hands to the floor, untuck the back knee, and then just step the front foot backwards, come into downward facing dog, and make a nice few paddles with your dog. And this time we're going to do something called a baby waving vinyasa. Don't worry too much about the name. Paddling through your dog for a while. Step your feet a little bit further back. Knees can come down, toes tucked under. Drop your hips to your heels. We're going to press off the feet, round through the back, looking back towards the knees for as long as you can. When your shoulders come over your hands, open your chest to look forward. Imagine you're dragging the heels of your hands backwards, soften your elbows, and then press up to hands and knees and draw your hips back down to your heels. Rolling through the back as you press off the toes, rounding forwards as your shoulders come over your hands. Open your chest to look forwards, elbows nice and soft, coming back to center and pressing up with the hands to bring the hips back to the heels. Last time, rolling forwards, opening the chest, elbows are nice and soft. If you want to add something here, you can gently sway the chest from side to side. A little twist. And then back to center, folding all the way down, making a pillow out of your hands, toes towards each other, heels apart, and taking some deep breaths here. We're going to add something to our leg lifts in this position. So when you're ready, drawing your thighs towards each other, and we're going to press down with the right foot, lift the left leg up, soften the knee to lift the heel a bit higher, and then reach the left toes over towards the right side of the body so that the left side of the pelvis comes away from the floor and back to center. Releasing down. Press down with the right foot, lift the left leg up, soften the knee, reach the right toes behind the body towards the left side, and then back to center, relax the foot down. Press down with the right foot, lift the left, soften the knee, reach the toes over behind you, and back to center. Press down with the left foot, lift the right leg, keep the head and chest and arms all soft. Bend the knee, reach the toes over and back to center, lengthen the leg, soften down. One more time to each side. Pressing down with the left foot, lifting the right, soft the knee, reach the toes over to the left, back to center, and release. And then allow your feet to fall apart, wiggle your hips from side to side, with the body in a still position in the center. Take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. When you're ready, you can bring the hands underneath the shoulders, come back to hands and knees, wide hands, and make big circles with your hips, just like you did before, this time with your toes tucked flat rather than tucked under. Go in both directions. Yeah, and then bringing your knees together, pad your hands back towards your knees so that you're sitting with your heels back on your hips, back on your heels, your buttocks back on your heels. And if this feels very stretchy on the ankles, you can again choose to come up and lower a little bit further in, or perhaps take moments of sitting and then come up again, just as we did with our toes tucked under, moments of sitting, coming up again. I didn't give as many instructions on that side. I figured everyone who'd had a tough time with that on Saturday would remember, because it's quite an intense posture. Okay, so if you want to give yourself a little bit more, if you've got more room to move into, then it's always important to use your range of motion if you have it available to you. So if you want to, you can take your hands back behind you, which will open up that space, possibly across the ankles, but definitely across the quadriceps. And then if you want to do a little bit more, if your ankles have more room to move, you can float your knees off the floor to give your feet a really, really good stretch out in this opposite direction. And I find that this in particular is a really nice thing to do for runners, because you tend to be short in the front of the ankle and strong there as well. Okay, so coming back to center when you're ready, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees are close together. And we're not doing our cats on this side, so we're tucking under the right toes and lengthening, I might just move on the mat slightly, lengthening the left leg behind us. So we're going to swing the left foot towards the left hand on the floor, and then take the left foot behind the body to the right side on the floor. Just backwards and forwards. It feels, it can feel better to have your hands slightly pressing away from each other to really firm up that space in the chest, so you don't drop the chest towards the floor. If you feel able to, or you want to explore, you can lift the left leg up, draw the left foot towards the left hand, and then take the left foot behind you to the opposite side. So big up and over, I call them rainbows, or my yoga teacher calls them rainbows. Very good. One more. And then finishing with the left foot on the left side of the body. And we're going to walk our hands back towards us to do our little gate poses. I will turn slightly on the mat for you. So we're upright. The right hip is over the right knee, arms out to the side. We're going to inhale as we reach the right hand up and the left hand down, and exhale back to center. Really firm in the legs and the buttocks. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Same thing the other way. Inhaling, dropping the right hand down. Exhaling, pressing off the right hand to come upright. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. From here, get bouncy and pliable on that left knee. So bending and stretching it a little bit until you feel you can step that foot back onto the mat and into your lunge position. We're going to reach for the floor with our hands, or you can use your blocks for support, of course, and just swing the hips backwards and forwards a few times, just finding some pliability, some movement here, and then rolling around the left foot. So we're rolling around the whole of the left foot. And as we do that, our hips roll around, our thigh bones roll in the hip sockets. Doing a few more of these. And then when you're ready, you can take the hips back towards your right heel behind you. Maybe leave the toes down first on this side and swing the hips gently from side to side. Just a little sway, a little swivel. And then coming forwards, and in this forwards position, you can also swing the hips from side to side if it feels good to you. Some people that might not suit. And then letting the left toes come away from the floor, sitting back towards the heels, and again, swinging the hips from side to side. We're lengthening across. We've got 3 hamstrings. They all join, they all originate in different places and end in different places. So we've got to make movement to access them. And then backwards and forwards, lengthening through the heel, lengthening through the right side of the pelvis, lengthening through the toes. Just a little press backwards and forwards. Beginning to feel that length coming, perhaps feeling your way into a bit more space. And then when you're ready, you can lengthen both legs and then bend both knees. Again, you can use your blocks for support if you need to. The knees don't need to become straight. It's just moving a different way through the pelvis, through the hips. When you're ready, you can bring your right knee in a little bit so that the space between your right knee and your left foot is a little shorter. You're going to press down into the feet and roll the body upwards. So we've got that real strength underneath the body to be able to make that movement. And then left hand on left thigh, breathing in, reach the right hand up and over to the left. Breathing out back to the center. And then breathing in as you reach and hug around that left side. And breathing out back to center. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and down. Breathing in, hugging around. Breathing out back to center. Breathing in, up and over. Breathing out and down. Breathing in, hugging. And breathing out back to center. One more time, because I can't remember how many we did on the other side. Lovely stuff. And back to center. And then from here, we're going to take the hands to the floor, untuck the back leg, slide the left foot back and come back into our downward facing dog for a little paddle through the legs. Very nice. And then taking the knees to the floor, working the hands back towards us, leave the right hand on the floor, turn to your left and come back into sitting at the end of your mat. Cross-legged if you want to, or not if you prefer. Take a moment to allow your spine to organize itself upwards. If you feel that the necessity to breathe out through your mouth, go for it. Take a deep breath in and sigh. And try to let go of any tension across the forehead or the jaw or the tongue. Feel the effect of your practice. Allow those effects to move through your body, to be absorbed. And then when you're ready, you can come to lying back down on your back. So drawing your knees into your chest, rolling down. And we're going to lengthen one foot to the floor and then the other. So we are going to use our blocks again, or one block at least again. But for now, I'm just going to pop them here over my head so we can do some, or actually, I'm going to get rid of one entirely. So, apologies, that's the singing bowl. So one block handy, other blocks out of the way. Feet nice and wide, and we're going to start just by swaying the knees, sorry, from one side to the other. It doesn't matter how far into this twist you go. You're just using your own range of movement. And the instructions are given for everybody so that everybody who's doing the class can get something out of the practice. So the next time your knees come down on your left side, allow them to rest there for a moment and make sure that that feels comfortable. If it doesn't, just keep moving from one side to the other. If it feels comfortable here, you're going to reach your right hand over to your left hand so that the left side of your head is on the floor and your right shoulder is completely away from the floor. Then reach your right hand over your head, drawing a nice big circle around the body so that the right side of the back comes back to the mat. Keep that circle going so the hand reaches back over to the left palm and then over the head in a nice big circle. The legs are not absolutely static, but they're staying pretty much in place. This time, when the right arm comes past the right ear, just letting it stay there, reaching past the right ear and reaching the right knee away. Now, it might feel like this is enough of a length for you, or you might still be doing the dynamic movement, that's okay. If you want to do a little bit more, you can gently ease the inside of the right thigh and the inside of the right foot towards the floor. And if you need more still, you can rest your left leg on top, or left foot on top of your right thigh. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Only using the more involved options if they're really going to benefit you. Yeah? If it doesn't feel good, if it makes your knees feel bad, or your hips feel bad, there's no point in doing it. If it makes you feel tense, don't do it. Uncrossing the legs, relaxing the right hand down to the side, bringing the knees back to center, and doing a little sway from one side to the other. And then when you're ready, you can let the knees come down on the right side and explore. So this side might be different from your left side. So this might be enough for you, or you might want to stay with the dynamic movement, maybe slowing that down so it's more precise, it's more done with more awareness. And then if you want to, you can reach your left arm over to your right palm and continue reaching the left hand up and over as you roll the upper back from the left side back to the mat and then away from the mat as you roll to your right. This is our second circle. And we'll do one more. And we're going to finish with the left arm by the left ear, reaching away. And it might be that simply reaching our left leg away from our left hand is enough. If you want more, then draw the inside of the left thigh, the inside of the left foot towards the floor. And if you want more still, rest your right foot on top of your left thigh. Wherever you are, take some deep breaths. Make sure that you are able to keep your face free from tension. Your breath long and slow and steady. And if you can't do those things, it means that you're in a position your body cannot rest in. And then you should come out of that position. Take one of the other options. When you're ready, you can uncross your legs, bring your left arm down to your side, sway your knees back up to center. Do a little gentle sway from side to side. Excellent stuff. And then we can do a little reclining pigeons, particularly for those who didn't enjoy the pigeon variation earlier. You can always use this as an alternative. So we're going to draw the knees into the chest to make a few circles in any direction that you like, or in both directions or individually. And if you can, do this without holding onto your legs, that's nice too. Super. Float the left foot to the floor, lengthen the right leg up, and first just wave the sole of the foot from side to side. And then when you can, when you're ready, draw the right knee into the chest, take the right foot over the left thigh. So we really want the outside of the right ankle or the lowest part of your shin bone on the left thigh rather than the outside of the foot, because we don't really want to make the foot bend at the ankle in that way. Here, floating your left leg towards you, and you can hold around the back of the thigh if that just feels more comfortable, more stable for you. But if possible, use some sort of length so that you don't have to lift your upper body towards your leg. Here, if you can, just simply allowing the legs to move with the rest of the body nice and relaxed, swaying the left knee from side to side. Feeling as you move the different response of the muscles of the right buttock and the outside of the right hip. And then making circles with your left knee. It helps to keep your feet a little bit flexed. They don't need to be rigidly flexed, but a little bit active is quite nice. Quite nice for the knees, and in the opposite direction too. Massaging the low back again. Do like a bit of massaging the low back. When you're ready, you can float your left foot to the floor, and this might feel enough for you, but if you want to do a little bit more, you can let your left knee come to the left side. So you're in a little gentle twist. And we talked about this on Saturday, where you position your knees changes where you feel this in your body. So try taking your left knee away from your left hand, so creating more space between the left knee and the left hand. And you might find that that accesses things that the previous position didn't. And then if you want to, you can try bringing your left knee towards your left hand. And there will be some point in between these two extremes that feels like just the right spot for you. And it might be you work in several different places for a few breaths each time. Whenever you're ready, you can bring your knees back to the center. Going to uncross the legs, stretch the right leg up, rotate the foot at the ankle a few times, and then lower the right leg to the floor as long and straight as you can. When the heel touches the floor, slide the foot in and place the foot down. We're going to lengthen the left leg up, wave the foot from side to side like you're waving the sole of your foot at the ceiling. Draw the left knee in, hug it towards you, and then cross the left foot over the right thigh, making sure that it's the outside of the ankle or the lower leg so that the foot is free here. It's not forced into a twisted position. If you want to, you can float your right knee towards you. If you prefer, you can hold around the back of the right thigh. Either way, swaying the right knee from side to side, allowing the left leg to simply stay in place and follow. Feel how it feels in the left side of the pelvis, in the left hip, the left buttock. And when you're ready, you can make circling motions. You'll feel that your abdominal muscles automatically engage. They're automatically cooperated into this movement. This amusement? Yes, it could be the opposite way. Opposite circling. And then when you're ready, you can release your right foot to the floor. You might feel that this is enough, or you can let your right knee come down. The left leg will follow. Experience the feeling of this opening twist. It's very similar to the previous one we did, but it's just ever so slightly different. And for runners, I find it's worth it to do both. You can let your right knee come away from your right hand to see if that helps. I find that that's not so helpful for me, but it might be more for you. Or bring your right knee towards your right hand. And again, find that space maybe between these two extremes. Somewhere in that range, there's going to be the spot that feels the best for you. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. You can work with several spots. When you're ready, bringing your knees back to center, straightening your left leg up towards the ceiling. It doesn't matter if it's straight or not. Rolling your foot at the ankle a few times in each direction. And we're going to lower the left leg as long and straight as you can towards the mat, Let the left heel touch down and then slide that left foot in. Now is the time for our block that's been waiting over our heads, or sturdy book. So allowing your body a moment, and then when you're ready, you can gently press into the heels to lift the hips up only enough to slide the block underneath the back of your pelvis. So we're trying to support the sacrum, which are those fused vertebrae at the bottom of the spine that join the two hips to each other, at the back of the body anyway. And so here, that's the part we're trying to feel really supported underneath, not the bottom of the buttocks and not the soft bit above the hip bones in the low back. So allowing your weight to rest here, arms out to the side, and maybe just taking your feet a little further away from your buttocks, and feel if that feels good to you. This can be so lovely and restful. Take a few moments, soften the features of your face, maybe turn your nose gently from side to side. Not too far, just a gentle wave. If you find it difficult to soften your face, just smile gently. And then you can explore how it feels to lengthen the right leg all the way away from you and let the right heel be on the floor with the toe falling out to the right side of the body. Maybe that feels just perfect. And it might feel good to do both legs at the same time, or you might prefer to have always the opposite foot bent for stability, and that is okay too. So you can either have both legs long or one at a time. If you want to do something else, we didn't do this on Saturday, but it's an option because you can never do everything in your class. If you want to do something else, you can lengthen the right leg and bend the left knee in towards you, hug the left knee towards you, and float the right heel off the floor and just gently sway it from side to side. And if you get sacroiliac joint issues, SI joint issues, then this can be a really nice way of helping them to repair. There is a whole practice just done in this position, which I will share on YouTube for those of you who would like it. And then you can gently swap sides. So bending the right knee in, lengthening the left leg away, holding the right knee towards you, floating the left heel off the floor and just swaying the foot from side to side. So feel free to send me a message with anything that you'd like practice on. I can always do a little tutorial for you. And then when you're ready, lengthening both legs away, or perhaps simply bending both feet at knees and placing both feet on the floor. For those of you who need a little bit more, perhaps on the next time you're doing the video, you want to explore lifting the hips and just orientating your block a little bit higher up, or using a second book if you're using books. And again, you can do this with the legs one straight at a time or both straight at a time, making sure that it doesn't feel too intense, that you still feel really relaxed. You can still keep your face relaxed and your tongue relaxed, your breath nice and soft. But if you use a higher orientation, when you come out, coming down onto the lowest setting of your block or taking one book away and resting for a few moments, which we're all going to do now anyway, with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. And then removing the block completely. So you ease the spine back into this more neutral position. As you release your hips to the floor, take a moment to allow your body to find this new position, to adapt to it, to absorb the information from the previous practice. And we're preparing for relaxation. So for those of you who'd like to put on some warm clothes, you can roll to one side and come up to grab a blanket or a jumper or both. Some socks is always nice for those of you who have been practicing in bare feet. I hope that's everyone. I forgot to say that at the beginning, but bare feet is nice. When you're ready, you can throw your blanket over you and lie back down on your back. Now here, you might find that a few cushions underneath the backs of the knees, or a bolster if you've got one, pillow, something like that, a rolled towel or a rolled blanket underneath the backs of the knees can be very useful after a practice where so much has gone on in the low body. And for those of you who would like to do a shorter relaxation, just feel free to get up whenever you're ready. But I will share with you this one thing. So the relaxation part of the practice is where all of that energy we've expanded through the body gets the opportunity to reabsorb back into our center. So without relaxation, yoga is simply gymnastics. So if we allow that time for the body to reabsorb that energy, we leave our practice energized and not depleted. If we leave the floor with the energy still tingling into our extremities and moving away from our center, it will make you feel exhausted from your practice later, more tired in your mind and your muscles. So give yourself a moment. 7 minutes is the minimum we should be aiming for. 15 is better. So if you are comfortable with relaxation and you know your posture, then go for your comfortable posture. If you're new to yoga, try having your feet quite wide apart, wider than your body, with your toes falling out. Little something under the knees if it feels more comfortable. Arms relaxing away from the body with the palms turned upwards. And as you come to the floor, just wave your nose gently from side to side to release any tension from the back of the neck. If your low back doesn't feel terribly comfortable here, gently press your low back down towards the mat by pressing into the heels and using your tummy muscles and your buttocks a little bit. Hold it for a couple of breaths and then release away. And if that doesn't work, something under the back of the knees is a good alternative. If you feel the space between your shoulder blades is where you're not quite softening, reach one arm over the other across the body. Allow the weight of the arms to be on the chest so that you aid gravity in easing that space between the shoulder blades to the floor. Let the fingers drape towards the floor and take a couple of deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can gently allow your arms to rest back out to the side, palms turned upwards. If you have a shoulder difficulty that means that's not comfortable for you, find a comfortable position for your hands or rest them with the palms on the abdomen, the elbows on the floor. Whichever position you're in, take one more moment to rearrange things or make any fidgets, and then bring your body to stillness. Take a deep breath in and sigh out through the mouth. Repeating 3 more times. A deep breath in, let all of your effort go. A deep breath in, let your muscles begin to relax. A last breath in and surrender down into your mat. Allow your breath to fall into a natural rhythm, falling away into quietness. Take your awareness into your forehead, feel it soften and spread. Feel the area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, jaw releasing. take your awareness to the back of your body. Become aware of all of the parts of the back of the body that are in contact with the mat or the floor. Feel the back of the head, the backs of the arms and hands, the shoulders, shoulder blades, buttocks, backs of the calves, thighs maybe, and the heels of the feet. Experience the sensation of contact between your body and the floor. Move your awareness to all the parts of the back of the body that are not in contact with the floor. The back of the neck, the wrists, the small of the back perhaps, the backs of the knees, the Achilles, and the soles of the feet. Experience the sensation of space between your body and the floor. Move your awareness to the front of your body. Become aware of the space over you and around you. Feel the touch of air on your face, the movement of your clothes on your skin as you breathe. The weight and the warmth of the blanket over you. The sensation of holding space in the palms of the hands. Draw your awareness to your breathing and gently deepen your breath, finding a slightly longer, slower, deeper breath in and a slightly longer, slower, more complete breath out. Breathing in long and slow and deep. Breathing out long and slow and deep. Breathing in light, energy, vitality. Breathing out tension, fatigue, negativity. Breathing in light, energy, vitality. Breathing out tension, fatigue, negativity. Allow your breath to fall in this rhythm whenever you're aware of it. Softening the body a little deeper with every exhalation. If you've got a little longer, you might want to relax for a little bit longer. But if you have to move, begin by taking a deep breath, stretching the arms and the legs. Maybe stretching the yawn into into your roll the fingers. Roll the wrists, roll the ankles, stretch the fingers and toes. And then gather your knees into your chest, hug them towards you, and make any movements that feel good. I like a little bit of rocking and rolling on the back. When you're ready, try keeping your eyes gently closed and roll to one side. Take a moment lying on your side. And then in your own time, with your eyes gently closed, find your way into a comfortable seated position. Place one hand over your heart and the other on top. And take a moment just to give yourself a little gratitude, a little thanks, like an internal hug for making the space and the time for yoga today, for nurturing your body, for easing out your tension, releasing and relaxing, finding that balance. When you're ready, you can blink your eyes open, palms together. I say namaste to you. Thank you for joining me for this practice. I know it wasn't exactly the same as the one we did on Saturday, but it's close. And I hope to see you again for one of the other practices. Please feel free to send me any comments, feedback. Namaste.